Hey, hi everybody. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Rob Kirkland. I'm the head of ROTC Consulting, and here today I have Tom and Mike. Mike was a winner of a four-year Army ROTC Scholarship, and I'd like to just ask some questions today of Mike and Tom. Tom is, of course, Mike's father, and just about their experiences with my Army ROTC Consulting, which is part of the larger ROTC Consulting that I do. First question for both of you is, how did you discover my consulting services, and what were you looking for in a consultant?
The first, we came across, doing the research, we came across Lieutenant Kirkland's book, went through that, got a lot of good information out of that, but certainly wanted to go the extra mile to get as many points we could, the best possibility to get the ROTC scholarship. After reading the book, we pursued it more with the consulting with Lieutenant Kirkland, and that we feel put us over the top to receive the scholarship.
Well, great. What were you looking for as a consultant? What were you looking for, like, from me, as far as, you know, what you wanted from me and the things that you felt that I could provide in regards to services to you?
We were looking for that extra, not just reading out of a book, that hands-on approach that walk us through every step, somebody who knew the system, and to get the most out of it that we didn't see, that the trained eye would see. And that's exactly what we got.
Right, great. Mike, what do you think was, if you had to look at it, I know you read the book along with your father, but what were the greatest benefits that you think that you received from my services, like, say, rather than just reading the book?
Definitely going through step by step through the application, and whether it was the questions asked on the essays and throughout the application, and then going from that to the interviews and learning the main points to hit on in the interviews. It really gave me the extra step and towards the main goal.
Right. And as far as the interviews, how did I work with you regarding the interviews? How did that work?
First session we went through, we kind of went over the guidelines and what to prepare for and how to focus on each question. And then the next 2 to 3 sessions we had was more focused on a real life situation of the interview. And every lesson would focus on a certain point, whether it was just the body language I had or how I was answering the question. It really was spot on and extremely helpful during the real interview.
Well, great. What was it like to work with me in general, from both of you? What did you think about working with me through this process?
From a parent's perspective, actually, Rob's idea was to remove the parent from the process. So it was my son, Michael. It was his words, his interview. It wasn't coming from a parent. And I think that was a huge, knowing what the ROTC in hindsight was looking for. They're looking for a self-starter, somebody who can do it on their own. Rob portrayed that for us.
As someone that wants to go through all these steps and, doesn't really have, has an idea of what they want to do, but doesn't know exactly the steps they have to take, it was definitely just a huge help going through and looking at in detail each step of the application. And then in the interview, it was the questions we went over was spot on, and it was really a huge help.
Well, great. What's an example of where I went the extra mile for you guys, as far as, making sure that you were ready? Can you think of any examples of where, I did a little bit of extra for you to make it, get you over the top?
I think knowing that in the application it's a point system, in knowing where those points are, Lieutenant Kirkland got us those points. Something, as I expressed before, as a parent we would have overlooked. He knew where those extra points were in the interview, which was extremely important. We did 4 sessions on the interview. Mike was extremely prepared going in, confident wasn't nervous at all. That was a huge help.
Awesome. Would you, in general, looking at someone who's a rising high school senior who's interested in Army ROTC or Air Force or Navy ROTC, would you recommend my services to them?
Hands down, absolutely. Not only was it going through the application, but the steps before that, going and doing as much as you can and talking to different people to use all that as ammunition for the interview and for the application.
Oh, great. And then just finally, is there anything else you'd like to add regarding your experiences with my consulting services?
From a parent's point of view, and actually a small business owner, it's probably the most, as far as the rate of return, it was the best investment I ever made. Certainly, hands down. Rob walked us through the steps and got us to where we wanted to be in an extremely competitive field.
Without this help from Lieutenant Kirkland, I don't know if I would be in the spot I was now with obviously the Army ROTC Scholarship. The biggest focus for me was the interview process, and that was right on target with what we practiced.
Well, great. Well, Tom and Mike, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me this evening. And Mike, I wish you the best of luck in Army ROTC, and I'm sure you're just going to do a fabulous job over the next 4 years. And the next 4 years, where ultimately you become a second lieutenant in the United States Army. So, good luck to you. And for further information about ROTC Consulting, you can visit my website at rotcconsulting.com. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Lieutenant Kirkland.